What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for June the 28th. Yesterday, I don't know what happened to the Dodgers in Colorado. Maybe they just didn't sleep well. I actually got a text from my buddy Brandon. He was telling me, oh, maybe we shouldn't take the Dodgers because they played on Sunday Night Baseball, the travel, they're going to be tired. I was like, shut up, Brandon. You crazy, man? This is the Dodgers, the best team in baseball. Like, how are you going to say that? What are they going to do? Just lay an egg in Coors Field, but they're going to forget how to hit because they're tired? Maybe he was right. Maybe he was right. And it's making me hesitant to take them again today, which is shitty, man. And then the Angels, top of the order, could not get it done. Ohtani, Trout struck out 2 times. Ohtani did hit, so did Taylor Ward, but Trout, modern day Babe Ruth, best hitter ever. I'm not seeing it, Mike. I need you to show me some love here when I finally pick you. When you have a high ass total, it'd be nice if maybe you could at least get a hit. That'd be fantastic. But overall, kind of shitty. Freeman didn't get it done. Turner didn't get it done. Sucked, man. Just sucked. Bobby Witt did, though. If you took Bobby Witt, he hit. He got a steal and shit. He was good. Casey actually put up some runs. Texas still ran him out of the building. Like I mentioned, Taylor Ward, Ohtani did hit because they both got steals. Worked out for them. But now we're back into today's slate. We got a full slate today. And I got a few plays I want to talk you through. And then we could talk through a few other things as well. So starting off with the short list, Kyle Schwarber, Austin Hayes, Paul Goldschmidt, Freddie Freeman, Jonathan India, and Chris Bryant, who returned yesterday. So we'll start right at the top with Schwarber. Love Schwarber, but the issue for me with him is he's not getting a ton of hits, right? Not even getting a hit per game. Up against Charlie Morton, who isn't a bad pitcher by any stretch. He just had a bad stretch of games. Line of only 6. I think what makes me hesitant mostly about this line is that he doesn't have Harper to drive him in now. He's relying on Rhys Hoskins and Nick Castellanos, who frankly has not been very good this season. So it makes me a little bit more hesitant to take a guy like Schwarber, where even if he does get a walk, chances of him being driven in by a guy like Bryce Harper are now not going to happen. So that's it gives me some hesitancy with him, but I do love Austin Hayes. I think Austin Hayes is a great option in Seattle today. Obviously outside of Baltimore is always great. More run potential with that ballpark playing so tough to right-handed hitters, but he's been so good this season. You've seen him pop in my model a bunch of times. Hits .667 against Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray, a guy that I've targeted a lot. He allows a ton of hits, he'll throw a ton of pitches, but the way Baltimore's playing right now, I think there's a really good shot they do win this game. Now, their pitching side is going to be interesting. We'll see how they ultimately shake out, but as an individual, Austin Hayes has been killing it lately. You see 12 points over his last 7 days and 10 over his last 14. He hit a home run yesterday. Another multi-hit game. He has multi-hit games in 3 of his last 6 games, and so I love Austin Hayes. He's been playing very, very well. He's going to bat, either at the top or somewhere in the heart of that order for Baltimore. I just love, any of those guys, 1 through 4. Rutschman's been playing very, very well. I've talked about Mountcastle playing really, really well. Mullins is kind of, getting hot again. So I do like Austin Hayes a lot today. If he hits leadoff, the chance of an RBI are a little bit slimmer, but still like him overall. And let's get into Paul Goldschmidt. I think I'd be willing to put in put in a ticket with Austin Hayes and Paul Goldschmidt, because the thing that people are kind of not missing, but I didn't even realize this till I looked it up, but Paul Goldschmidt is hitting over 400 at home. So if you want to these are his home road splits, and I was just looking at this before we hopped on to do this show. 15 home runs, 41 RBIs, 2 steals, and a 400 average at home, OPS of 1,300. That is just insane. Now, while his BABIP is .433 at home, it's still pretty remarkable to see a guy hitting 15 home runs at home in only 36 games. So basically every other game at home, he's hitting a home run right now. Average of over 400. Very difficult to fade Paul Goldschmidt at home. And it's the reason why I think he's worth taking today. He's up against Braxton Garrett, who's, a fine pitcher. But, you see Goldschmidt's got the P-Val advantage because he's just hammering everything. I'd be willing to take him today. I think at home, he's just been a monster. And so if you think that he can do it again, I am fine with that. Now let's go to Freddie Freeman, who I don't want to quit him yet. I don't want to quit Freddie with how good he's been. You see over the past few days, 12 over the last 14, 14.7 over the last 7, 1.5 hits per game. Goldschmidt, again, over 1.5 hits per game, 2.67 total bases for Freddie, almost a run per game, an RBI per game. It's up against Kyle Freeland, who is not good. Freddie doesn't hit Freeland overly well, but it's just it's so difficult for me to fade Freddie, man. But yesterday was just such a letdown. So I wouldn't say he's a core play by any stretch, only 55% edge, and he does have a line of 9, so he will have to do a lot to get there. But I think he's worth a shot. You know, Freddie's been so good. He can hit a home run in cores. Like, there's no concerns about that. And he's been hitting a lot of home runs more recently, especially getting the extra base hits. So I don't hate it. I think there's a real world where he does go over, and I think he'd be willing to play him with maybe a Hayes and a Goldschmidt in a flex. But I do like Hayes and Goldschmidt as my core plays for the day. And then we get into Jonathan India, who last time I took him for an under, he homered, so that sucks. But again, he's at 7.5 in Chicago. Keegan Thompson's been one of the best pitchers for the Cubs this season. He's 7-2. He's got a low 3 ERA. I'm not willing to bet on the Reds to get a hold of Thompson the way they have with some other guys. As much as I like him, India's just been struggling, man. He's not been playing very well. 4.86 over the season, just over 4 over the last 14, and 6 over the last 7. Half a hit per game, you know, but not even a total base per game, barely scoring a run or an RBI. It's literally just he hit a home run a few days ago. He'll get a steal from time to time if he can get on base. Like, he's not doing it with the bat. And so if you're not doing it with the bat, there's a good shot you can go under, especially when you have a 7.5 total. This is kind of baking in his chances to get a steal, which is always a reality. But you have to get on base to get a steal, and he's not really getting on base at a very high clip right now. And he's over 2 against Keegan Thompson, which doesn't hurt either. So for me, I think it's just the situation where I'd be willing to run an under with India. It's just such a high total for a guy who's been really struggling against a pitcher who's frankly been pretty good. So I'd be willing to run an under for India. And then we go into Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant just came back yesterday. He got 1 hit. That was it. No RBIs, no runs, nothing. So again, you see the runs, RBIs, extra base hits. Not a whole lot to go off of. But I think it's just a tough matchup. You know, he's got history against Kershaw, 13 at bats, hitting 300, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Of course, the game is in cores, so there is the added factor of Coors Field and the pit and the park factor that comes with that, the 1.39 park factor. And so it's interesting, right? Like, Chris Bryant, as talented as he is, he still isn't within the flow of things, right? He's not acclimated right now, and he's not hot. He's just getting back into playing again. And so a total of 7 is pretty high for him. You know, we saw what happened yesterday. Not a ton of hits. Chad Kuhl 3 hit the Dodgers. Like, that's not happening again. But on the other side, Colorado is not playing overly well, and while they need Bryant to play better, he's just not quite there yet. He got a hit yesterday, but against Kershaw knows how to pitch in cores. He's done it his whole life. He's played pretty well there. So I'm not overly concerned with the matchup. I think that Kershaw's going to be Kershaw, and while Chris Bryant is talented, I'd be fine taking an under there. I think he's going to get, somewhere around 4 or 5 points, maybe a hit and a walk, maybe score a run, but 7 is pretty bold for a guy who hasn't done a ton, and especially when I'm not expecting the Rockies to score a ton of runs. They could. They're still the Rockies, but against Kershaw and that bullpen, it could be tough sledding for the Rockies today. And I know the Dodgers are going to be motivated to come back and get a win after getting shut out yesterday. So there is that added incentive for them as well. And I think that Kershaw is the guy who can get it done for them. So those are guys I'm looking at right now. Paul Goldschmidt, Austin Hayes are really the two that I think are locked and loaded that I really, really like. I think there's a lot of signs pointing towards overs for those guys. Schwarber, he's a little home run or bust, basically. That's where I stand with Schwarber. He's as talented as he is. With the way that they're playing right now and the way that he's getting his points, it's basically pretty much all through the home run. He might get on base with a walk and get batted in, but again, without Harper, those chances significantly decrease. And then Freddie Freeman, hoping for a bounce back game from him, I'd be willing to run him in a few flex plays. And then, of course, India is a guy who I'm more looking at as an under because he's just not getting on base, not getting that many hits, but he does have the threat of this steal, and that's why his line is a little bit higher. And then Bryant to go under in only second game. So again, you're not expecting a ton from him. He could always go yard. He could get hot early, but it does take some time for some of these guys to get back into the swing and things, and especially against a guy like Kershaw, that's not the easiest thing to do. So those are kind of the plays I'm looking at today. And as always, if you tail, give them hell. And if we fail, do not bail. I'll be back tomorrow with more MLB picks. And I'm liking the ones today. So Austin Hayes, Paul Goldschmidt, lock those guys in. You could throw in some Freddie Freeman, some India unders. But overall, do some research on it and see what you guys find. But I do really like these. I think there's a lot of good things here. Unfortunate, Trout couldn't come through for me with the full Angels stack, and the Dodgers, the travel, I guess, got to them. But the data was there, and so the data is kind of supporting this again today for some more overs. So make sure you guys drop me a like if you like this video and subscribe for future content. I'm going to be out a bit today. I know you guys like to drop some stuff in the comments, ask me some questions. So if I don't get to it, I'll probably get to it before the day starts later on, but I probably won't get to it early. So you can drop some comments down below if you want, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.